Hi, this is Ken and Michelle Bass.
And you're listening to the Resilient Parenting Podcast.
Well, hello. It's been a busy Memorial Day weekend, Michelle. You're looking nice and fit and tan.
Well, I don't know about fit, but I've definitely been working in the garden over this long break. So, yeah.
It's surprising to a lot of people. I have too.
You have.
I've been doing a lot out there. I surprised you with a bunch of stuff too.
You surprised me, yes. And I love surprises like that.
Yeah. So I think I deserve a little bit of praise for all the work I did out there for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
You did a great job.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, I'm going to take it and run with that. I was just afraid you were going to encourage me to do more after all this.
Oh, well, don't you worry. Encouragement is coming up. So we're back, and I'm glad you brought up praise and encouragement, Ken, because that's what we're going to talk about today.
I had this psychic vision that possibly that was what we were going to be talking about.
Oh, that's amazing.
Plus, I snuck a look at your paper.
Okay, that makes more sense. I was like, wow. After 25 years, I didn't know you had this hidden talent.
That would be the first, wouldn't it?
Yeah, well, no, I was thinking, so if you have this psychic talent, you should know what I'm going to say before I say it instead of me having to repeat myself. But that's another time, another story.
That's going to be a very long podcast.
Let's talk about praise and encouragement. And I am going to be, some of the information that I'm providing today is from the Positive Discipline book by Dr. Jane Nelson.
Okay.
And so some of what we're going to talk about today is going to be quoted through that book, and everything that we talk about today, we will also share in the show notes. So let's talk a little bit about praise and encouragement.
Okay, for your kids, for your offspring, right?
For your kids, yes, but I think it goes for anyone. But yeah, we're a parenting podcast, so this is about parenting.
Yeah.
And so this would definitely be about children.
So if you can get your kids to praise you and give you encouragement, that's a good thing too.
Okay, well, let's get into the information and let's see what you come up with after this.
You're the best dad and mom ever.
Yeah. Okay, I guess that's true. Okay, well, let's look into this. So research by Carol Dweck, a PhD professor at Stanford University, found that praise can hamper risk-taking.
Hamper risk-taking.
Yes. Children who were praised for being smart when they accomplished a task chose easier tasks in the future.
Oh.
And why do you say that?
Why? I say why?
They didn't want to risk making mistakes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because they were praised for getting it right.
Yeah.
And so they didn't want to.
So why push themselves?
Yeah, it's kind of like, okay, I'm going to do easy things so I can get that praise for getting it right.
Right.
Okay. But children who were encouraged for their efforts were willing to choose more challenging tasks when given a choice. When I read that, I was like, yes, because I remember when I was getting my undergrad degree.
In social work?
In social work, yes. I worked really hard in my math classes. Actually, I worked hard in all my classes, but especially in my math classes. And I remember, I had a really good grades and all of that, but I worked really hard for it. And I was actually insulted when someone would say, "Oh, good job, you're so smart." And I was like, well, because I wanted them to see the effort that I put into it. If they had said, wow, like you worked so hard for that. You must be so proud of yourself. Like that is looking at what I accomplished, the time I took, the extra time I took. So just kind of that did ring a bell to me for that.
Okay.
So let's talk about the differences. The differences between encouragement and praise can be difficult to grasp for those who believe in praise. and have been seeing immediate results.
Right.
Because if you say, oh, good job, you might get excited and be like, aw, they think I did a good job. I want to do something else so that they'll be proud of me.
Especially if it's a good job, here's $1.
I don't know. I don't think $1 will cut it anymore.
Oh, that's true.
But, money's money.
Yeah.
So what this ends up happening, though, is that praise is not encouraging because it teaches children to become approval junkies.
Oh.
And so what that basically means is they look for approval. So they try to do things for approval. So what they're basically doing is looking for external praise.
Okay.
External, like you did a good job, versus looking within themselves and recognizing their own worth and what they've done.
Okay.
They learn to depend on others to evaluate their worth. Encouragement, on the other hand, leads to self-reflection and self-evaluation. So
Okay.
let's explore the difference between praise and encouragement.
Okay.
So according to the dictionary, praise is to express favorable judgment, to glorify, especially by attributions of perfection, hate that word, an expression of approval.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's praise.
That's kind of like when I was asking for praise for doing all that garden work, right?
Yeah, we won't even talk about all the work I did, but
Well, you did a great job.
yeah.
And I hope you do more.
Yeah.
Was that
Here's
good?
the thing. I don't need praise because I know what I did.
Oh, it's
and
true.
I didn't do it for praise. I did it for my own, my enjoyment, to look out and see the garden and to see the flowers growing and the butterflies and the bees, all the good stuff.
I'm glad you appreciate that because that saves me from giving you $5.
I can give myself $5.
Oh, it's true.
Okay, I'm an independent woman. Okay, so let's look at encouragement. Encouragement, the definition is to inspire with courage, to spur on, to stimulate.
Yeah.
So there's a little difference. One kind of feels more internal and one is more like from external
Okay.
choices. Okay, so praise addresses the doer, like good girl or good job, Ken.
Thank you.
You seem to really like this praise, though. I don't know. Encouragement, on the other hand, is addresses the deed. So I appreciate your help, Ken.
Oh.
I appreciate your help this weekend because it saved me a lot of time, and I can see you worked really hard, and it means a lot to me that you took the time to do that, and I really appreciate the effort that you put into that.
You're welcome.
Do you feel a difference though in those two approaches?
I feel really appreciated. I feel worth something here.
Yeah, well, it's more about the effort that you put into it instead of just saying a broad statement of good job.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's look at some outcomes that we might notice by using praise and encouragement.
Okay,
So
okay.
with praise, it invites children to change for others. So that approval junkie again. So you change things or you do things because you want someone else to be happy, versus encouragement, which an example would be that A reflects your hard work, recognizing the ownership and responsibility for the effort. So along the lines of when I was in school, I put a lot of effort into it. It wasn't just, I was just born smart. There's certain things that I struggle with, and I had to put extra effort in, especially going to school at 35.
Yeah.
I had to learn so many things. And I wanted to be able to recognize that.
Right.
Just like the effort that you put in when you were in the yard. I understand that it's not your favorite thing to do, and you put effort in, and that really is appreciated.
Okay. I quick question,
Yes.
especially when it comes to school with kids when and I don't know, I can't remember if this happened with me or not, but getting a certain grade level, you get money for it. Is that encouragement or praise? Like if you got an A, you get $1 when you were a kid. Or when I was a kid, it was only a quarter, but yeah.
Well, that is basically giving it a reward
Yeah.
for good behavior, which also it'll work. But what this is working on is like that internal self-awareness of self-worth, of something that you can't pay for.
Okay, so you're in it for the money in this case with report cards, as opposed to actually
learn. And to grow.
Yeah. Okay.
So, and I'm not saying that sometimes those kinds of things. I mean, I get a paycheck. That is an award, a reward for my work, and I also know that there was a time when I needed. Obviously, I need the money so I can pay the bills, and I don't seek praise from folks because I see the work that I put into it. So there's a difference.
It's more about self-worth, right?
It's more about self-worth and taking chances and learning from mistakes.
Right. Okay.
Instead of trying to seek that perfection of a perfect job means you get praised. In fact, a lot of times, something that's even more powerful is when you do a good job and someone just comes up to you and says, "Hey, I really appreciate what you did. I can see you worked really hard on that project." And instead of like announcing it in front of everyone,
right? There's
something really special and even more, it feels just a little bit more gratifying to have it noticed, even a note. And they do talk about that in the article that I'm getting this from. So, but, you spoke about school. I can go back just really quick because something that they were talking about that can happen in a school with praise is, I like the way Susie is sitting.
Yeah.
How does that feel? Versus, who can show me how we should be sitting now?
I don't know.
So one is, I like the way Susie is sitting, which is having comparison.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're like, oh, Susie must be better than me because she's sitting the correct way. Versus, who can show me how we should be sitting now? Which gives everyone the opportunity to sit accordingly to...
I see.
Yeah. And
the first way, a lot of kids would be flipping Susie off, probably. Well, good for her.
Well, no one wants to be Susie. She's the teacher's pet, which could also, bring some competition and some feelings. Yeah. So, and it's like that, the praise brings it outside of ourselves. So being able to say, I can sit this way, or, but that was an example that was something in a school.
Yeah.
Let's look at some others. So praise is an external, what do others think, versus encouragement, which is internal, what do I think? It teaches, praise teaches dependence on the evaluation of others. So it's all about, what does everyone else think? Am I fitting in? Am I doing a good job? Whereas encouragement teaches how to think, self-evaluation.
Right.
What am I doing a good job? Is there something that I would want to do differently? And problem solving. It's not saying that we don't want to hear feedback, because we all learn from others and feedback, but it's the difference is in praise, trying to get that approval from others versus knowing that you're doing the best you can in the certain situation.
When you're rating yourself basically on what other people think, then you're not really rating yourself the right way.
Well, you're not giving yourself the benefit of like that you are able to, you have that own control.
The self-confidence,
self-worth, that your opinion matters. And what are your goals? What do you want, instead of what would make them happy or what would be they would approve of.
Right.
So the goal of praise is conformity. You did it right. Versus encouragement, which the goal is understanding. What do you think, learn, and feel? So the long-term effect, again, we talked a little bit about this, but praise, so dependence of how others react to how we're doing. And so our own self-worth is dependent on how others view us. Also, again, you end up avoiding taking risks because you're afraid of making mistakes and disappointing people.
Right.
With the long-term effect of encouragement is self-confidence, self-reliance, and again, choosing to take risks and learn from mistakes.
So this works for teaching kids as they begin schooling and go on from there and into their careers as far as your jobs, because this is something, I've faced as an employee before. Yeah,
you are a people pleaser.
Yeah, I am.
You don't have to say it with shame. There's a lot of people out there. I was a former people pleaser, and I still get joy from helping others. I mean, I'm a social worker after all. And my self-worth is not based on what other people think of me.
Yeah, a little bit of difference between trying to make people happy, pleasing them, as opposed to just relying on them for what you think of yourself.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot of decisions, I would say, that you would make sometimes were not necessarily what you wanted or what you thought was best, but you didn't want to like rock the boat, and you wanted everyone to be happy with you.
Not anyone get fired.
Oh, yeah, there was that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about how to encourage. So according to Dr. Jane Nelson, encouragement is helping your children develop courage to grow and develop into people they want to be, to feel capable, to be resilient. And according to Dreikers, they said to have the courage to be imperfect, to feel free to make mistakes and to learn from them, which of course brought me to my favorite, Brene Brown, because she's all about being imperfect and being vulnerable and having the courage to live an imperfect life. And I found a good quote. So Brene Brown says, "There is no innovation and creativity without failure, period."
Very good.
Yeah. So a couple things to think about.
Okay.
When you're trying to encourage, it's going to take some practice, because it's really easy to just say, "Oh, good job," or "You're a magnificent artist." That's not enough. You're going to need to be a little bit more specific. But a couple things, and there's more. Are you inspiring self-evaluation or dependence on the evaluation of others? So when you're talking to your children, are you inspiring self-evaluation or dependence on the evaluation of others? And would you make the comment that you're making to a friend? So that's a little bit different. When you're talking to children, a lot of times it's like, I'm the adult.
Right.
I know best. But we wouldn't talk that way to our friend necessarily.
Well, you may not, but... This is why I don't have that many friends, I guess.
I wasn't going to say anything. But yeah, so that's a good gauge, because it's like, okay, would you say that to your friend? So let's go ahead and let's look at some examples of things that you can say.
Okay.
You really worked hard on that. How does that land for you?
No, that's appreciating what you did. Yeah.
Yeah. But how does it feel for you? You really worked hard on that.
Yeah, I did.
You did.
You're right.
I did. And they noticed.
Yeah.
They noticed me. They see me. Okay. Thanks. I really appreciate that, because it makes my job easier.
Okay.
So not only do you see that, like, you did a good job, but you also see that it had a positive impact on someone else. That's different than someone saying, good job. I'm proud of you.
Right.
It's like you can see that your action had a positive influence on someone.
Oh, okay.
And that you worked hard.
Right.
Oh, here's one. You'll figure it out. How does that feel?
Yeah.
You're like, I don't want to figure it out. Just tell me what to do.
There's been many times I've been told that, and I'm just still sitting there hours later going, what in the hell? I don't know.
So I think I should go. This was through the Trauma Response Tools and Transformation. It's a handout, and it had 3 different encouragement framework. One is descriptive, appreciative, and empowering. So that one would be empowering, because it's basically saying, I believe in you. I have faith in you.
Yeah.
I know you can do this. I trust you. You'll figure it out.
Oh, okay.
And I'm here.
Okay, yeah.
So it's not like, setting you up for failure. It's basically saying, I believe in you.
You got this.
You got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Another thing to think, another question to ask is, how do you feel about it? So if you've done something, instead of me telling you what I think about it, you say, how do you feel about it?
And I don't say something like, I don't know, how do you feel?
I think you're a praise junkie. Is that what we said it was?
No.
So here's another question. Since you're not satisfied, what do you think you can do so you'll feel happier with it?
Besides making somebody else do it.
Gosh. But you see, since you're not satisfied,
Right.
it's not about me being satisfied or me saying, I don't know.
It just
What
makes
do
you
you
dig a
think?
little bit deeper into yourself to see, what can I do? Yeah.
Well, and also recognizing that you don't seem happy with it. It has nothing to do with how I feel about it.
Right.
It's going back to you and saying, it kind of goes with that same empowering, like, you have it in you. You had it in you all along. You just had to believe. What's that from?
Some medical show.
Well, it was close. It was the good witch at the end. And she said, you wouldn't have, why didn't you tell me to begin with? Well,
Like the Cowardly Lion already had courage.
yes. Well, and Dorothy had a way to get home. She just did. She needed time to believe in herself.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what we're saying.
Well, are you calling me Dorothy?
I'm calling you something. All right. So that wasn't very encouraging, was it?
No. Courage.
Courage. All right. So one other thing I want to just review is through a positive discipline. And again, there's books and there's all sorts of things that you can look up. If you're interested in this, it's all about encouragement over praise.
Okay.
So they have some tools, and so these are some things that you can do right away. Have a family meeting. Have a family meeting where everyone comes together. Everyone can give and receive compliments and learn to brainstorm solutions to any problems that might be happening in the family.
Right.
This is an opportunity for everyone in the family to have a voice. And so that may be hard for some parents if they're used to, I'm the parent, I'm the boss, I'm in charge,
Right.
you listen to me. But it's a really good life skill to teach your children to be able to be a part of problem solving and solutions. Curiosity questions. So invite children how to think instead of what to think. So kind of like the question before, like, I can tell you're not really happy with it. What could you do differently? Or what would make you happy with that?
Right.
Give them a sense of choice to use their personal power for social responsibilities. So giving them opportunities to think through problems and trust them. Letting go. Let it go. You know it's going to do that. Give your children opportunities to learn and grow.
I wasn't encouraging you to, though.
It still happen. Mistakes and all. So a lot of times we ask our children to do something and maybe they don't do it completely perfectly, or again, there is no such thing as perfect.
Right.
I think we need to get that out of our vocabulary. Look at letting go of micromanaging, of over the shoulder, trying to get it just right. Let them experience it, and show faith so they can develop faith in themselves. So not be hypercritical. And then again, the praise is more about the effort and instead of the finished job. And I think that's really important. Like, so if we look at it that way, think of someone who is, let's say they're coloring, a child is coloring.
Right.
Instead of saying, you're a great artist, you should sell your paintings or whatever. I mean, some people go like real extreme, or, if they graduate and it's like, the sky's the limit. You're going to make such a huge difference and you're going to do so many things. It's like, oh my goodness. No
pressure.
Yeah, no pressure at all. So let's go back to, again, the artist. You're a great artist. This little 5-year-old is coloring a little thing and you're like, you're a great artist. You should be a professional artist. You're so good. What would be something that would be encouraging the effort or the creativity? What would be something that you could say instead?
Try coloring inside the lines and stuff.
Ken,
I'm kidding.
That is not encouraging.
I'm kidding. I wouldn't say that.
Yes. You wouldn't. He wouldn't. But when I was little,
Yeah.
my sister was 2 years older than me, and she could. And I thought there was something wrong with me because I couldn't.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been a great opportunity to say, oh my goodness, I love your use of color.
Mm-hmm.
Like that color, it's so pretty. And I love how you colored it right over there. That's what made you think to color that
Mm-hmm.
color, or, whatever, like just kind of be curious and explore. So
Oh, okay.
we're going to do a redo with Ken. So Ken,
What?
how would you encourage our little painter or our little colorer?
Yeah, I like how you did that. Now, could you do that on a bigger piece of paper? I'd like to put this up on the wall.
Okay.
Wait, is that supposed to be Mommy's picture?
So be even more specific.
Oh, okay.
Instead of, I like how you did that.
Okay.
Well, what do you mean? What did they do that you liked?
Oh, you drew big circles and made them all different colors. I think that's really pretty.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So you noticed what they did, and then it wasn't about being a artist and all of that, but it was something that a choice they made, and you saw it and loved it for what it was.
Yeah. Okay.
In the present moment. Okay, people pleaser.
Yeah.
Praise junkie.
Oh,
I'm just telling you because you're like all stressed about saying it
you
correctly.
didn't tell me this podcast is going to be directed at me.
I'm pretty sure I did.
Oh.
We each play a role here, kid.
Oh, okay.
All right. And then another thing is the successful use of encouragement requires adults to show interest in the child's point of view and a desire to provide opportunities to develop life skills, which will lead to self-confidence, and not seeking or being swayed by the opinions of others, which is difficult. I mean, we all, especially if it's negative comments, we all have a reaction to it. I mean, I could have so many things that went right, but one person or one thing didn't go right, and that's what I'm going to focus on. And I've really had to work on that. So
Me too.
yeah, so being able to give opportunities to be together with the kids and special times, special moments, and just seeing them for who they are and get to know them better, help them get to know themselves is that's what encouragement is all about. So do you feel encouraged to maybe try encouraging?
Try encouraging?
Yeah, instead of praise.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay. So
I'd like to encourage you to do all the rest of the garden work because you do such a great job at it.
oh, I think this has backfired on me. This podcast is brought to you by the Idaho Children's Trust Fund.